You are listening to the Marriage Clinic podcast, a podcast on love, marriage, and personal development. Our purpose is to inspire and equip you with knowledge and skills to enable you to have lasting and fulfilling relationships. Now your host, Joshua Mulgrew.
Good evening. This is the Marriage Clinic podcast. And as you know, we are already in season 3. I can't believe this is the 3rd year of us running the Marriage Clinic podcast. It started as an idea, and here we are 3 years on, changing lives, thousands of views and thousands of downloads, and we keep moving. We always want to encourage you to go back and look at all the episodes we have on YouTube and all the other areas, and please do leave a comment, do leave a like. My name is Dr. Joshua Mulgrew, or you can call me Uncle Josh, and welcome to the Marriage Clinic podcast. As you may know, this is a podcast about love, marriage, and your personal development. I have a small request. I want you to just take a moment right now, and I want you to share this link wherever you are listening to it. If you can share it, if you can leave a comment and then share, it makes a world of difference to the people we reach, and we get better and are able to bring you more quality content. So here we go. Marriage Clinic podcast. This is the 3rd in a series, and definitely I'm going to finish it this time. The 3rd in a series called Relationship Readiness. Relationship Readiness. If you are looking for some more information, mastering the self before meeting the one. I think that sounds real good. Mastering the self before meeting the one. Simply, what we are talking about, and what I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks, is the things you need to make sure you have done in your personal life before you approach someone or agree to be in a relationship with someone. So here we go. So I've spoken about finding fulfillment in being single, resolving emotional baggage, improving your social etiquette. I've spoken about all of that over the last 2 weeks. And today, I'm starting from the 9th thing you want to look at. I've given you 8 over the last 2 weeks, and now I'm talking from the 9th point. Manage your social media presence. Manage your social media presence. In your readiness for a relationship, it is important that you remember that your social media now is more or less a background snapshot of who you are. Now, you can't put things on social media and say, I was just joking. Now, here's the interesting thing. At first, when a lady tells her girlfriends that, oh, I met this guy, I think I like him, I think he likes me, then they'll ask, what's his name? What are his social media handles? And immediately they begin to look the person up. Now it's gone beyond that when a lady is talking to her family, when a guy is talking to his family, or a lady is talking to her family, I have a boyfriend, they ask, what's his name? What is his social media handles? And they begin to look for it. I think I saw this thread, I think it was in Nigeria or one of the West African countries, where a lady was preparing to get married, but I think a year before there was someone had put her story there, and she had put under, if this happened to me, I would poison him. And someone took a screenshot of it and sent it to her mother-in-law, and the mother-in-law said, if this is how wicked this girl is, I don't want her in my family. And that led to the end of the relationship. So what you need to do as you are considering entering a new relationship, you must go and scrub your social media information. There are things you wrote when you were younger and more foolish that don't still need to be there. In as much as what you put on the internet is never forgotten, the metadata is out there and someone can always find it, don't make it easy for people to find foolish stuff about you. So my dear lady, I know now you're a church girl and you are calm, but please, if you could go delete all those pictures of you smoking shisha and opening bottles with a water bottle and all those things, it would help you and give you a better chance of people getting to know you before they form an opinion of you. Always remember that whatever you put online is recorded. There are some people that are constantly taking screenshots of your post on Twitter, on your status, and you can't keep joking the way you joke because you must manage who you are. If whatever you are putting out there, you wouldn't do in public when you have adults and people you respect around you, don't put it on social media. So before you enter your next relationship, I want you to take the pains and go through if you have a Facebook account, an Instagram, a Twitter, whatever, go through them and begin to delete the nonsense. Because it is important that you reform who you are before you approach the next person so that they can judge you for where you are and not where you used to be. But the moment you leave that information there, we will always judge you on, and it may be who you were in the past, but it speaks for itself now. I've taken the pains to go through, I looked back the last time at some Facebook posts I made probably about 15 years ago, and for some of them I was shy. I was embarrassed. I looked at it and I was like, no, what were you going through when you wrote this? But one thing that remained is I realized that Chelsea has been breaking my heart for the last 15 years. So anyway, so number 9, manage your social media presence. Manage your social media presence. And if you are telling me, well, that's not who I am, it's just the persona, listen, people will look at you before they will listen to you. And now people will believe your social media presence more than they believe who you are in real person. So make sure that it reflects who you are. Brings me to number 10. Number 10, resolve your financial issues. Resolve your financial issues. Let me first start with the ladies. You really need to adjust your mindset on your begging habits. Can I be clear? It's not your boyfriend's responsibility to pay your rent. It's not your boyfriend's responsibility to take care of you. It's not your boyfriend's responsibility to pay for your hair, for your nails, and so on and so forth. It is your responsibility. And if you think it is his responsibility, you are just lazy, and in my opinion, you are not wife material. Manage your finances well. Cut your coat according to your size. Live within your means. Make sure you do not owe. Make sure you are not in debt. Make sure that you can run your own life before you merge your life with someone else's life. Same for men. You have no business pursuing ladies when you cannot even afford to take care of yourself. So figure that out. And I'm not talking about take care of yourself as in have a car, build your own place, but at least you should be able to afford the meals you need. You should be able to clothe yourself. You should be able to transport yourself. You should have a job. J-O-B. At least. Alright? Now, if you manage your finances well, it helps you in the relationship to be balanced. So, for a man, manage your finances. And after you've managed your finances, it will even tell you the kind of people you can date. For a lady, be on your feet, manage yourself well, make sure your resources are in the right place. And if anyone must take care of you, it should be the people who brought you into this world, not the person you are dating. Because the minute you make it a requirement, they will ask of you things you cannot refuse. So don't make your relationship a transactional thing. And for some people, the moment they are broke or the moment their rent is coming up, they have to look for a boyfriend. I have 3 months left for my rent. I didn't want to say yes to this guy, but let me say yes to him now, or else I may not be able to pay my rent. Manage your finances well. Resolve all your financial issues. Make sure you are standing right. Brings me to the 11th milestone or point or guard or that you need to know. Now, if you are not really a deep person and you don't really want to have fulfillment in life, you may want to skip over this one. But if you really believe, like most of us believe from the scriptures, that dating should be purposeful, where it leads to marriage, or it helps you make a decision whether you can get married to the person. And we get married to help each other live our best lives. Then when you are dating, you must consider who you are dating. And that brings me to the 11th point of discover your life's purpose before you start dating. Know who you are, know where you are going, know what you want to do in life, know what your goals in life are, why you were placed on this planet, what makes you tick, what you enjoy doing before you go date somebody. I heard a very sad story, a really sad story about a man who was really passionate about rural work and working with underprivileged communities and working with young people. And then he started dating a lady, and his mentors told him that this lady you are dating doesn't really... Okay, let me tell the story. In order for you to understand the story, let me just tell it as it was. I was trying to mask it, but hey, I'm telling the story. If you think it's you I'm talking about, maybe it is you I'm talking about. Anyway, so in reality, he was a teacher, right? He really loved teaching. In fact, when we were in secondary school, he was one of our favorite teachers. I leave his name unmentioned. Now, years later, I met him and his wife. And one day while talking to him, he said something that was so deep. He said, I really found fulfillment when I was teaching students and being on the student campus and helping students with their problem. That is when I was happiest in this life. He said, but my wife kept putting pressure on me that the job was not paying well enough. And now I work in a bank, but I'm one of the most frustrated people you can ever find. What did he do? He married someone who didn't understand his life's purpose. So if you know where you are going, when you are choosing to enter into a relationship where the person understands what motivates you, what you want to do with your life, and will not pressure you to be something you are not. They should pressure you to be the best version of what you are supposed to be, not the best version of what they imagine in their minds. All right, and brings me to the 12th and the final one of them all. Make sure you're at a point where you are seeking committed partnerships and not casual dating. How do you know you're ready for a relationship or relationship readiness? Is when you are now beginning to look for a wife and not someone to chill with. Now, if you are still thinking about somebody you can have fun with, but you are not asking yourself, could this be the father of my children? Would I be happy if this man takes decisions for me for the rest of my life? Would I be happy if my children look like this guy? Is this somebody I can take home and tell my dad about? Is he going places I want to follow? Until you are in that kind of headspace where those are the things you are considering, or you as the man are asking, can this be the mother of my children? And just flip the questions. Until you are thinking, is this someone I can settle down with, and not, she's fine, I want to have fun with her. You're not ready for a serious relationship. But you know you are ready for a serious relationship when you really are thinking about doing life with this person and not just fun with this person. This has been the Marriage Clinic Podcast, a podcast about love, marriage, and your personal development. My name is Dr. Joshua Mogri, or you can call me Uncle Josh. We'll be back in a few minutes with Ask Uncle Josh. Thank you. Take care. See you soon. We are back with Ask Uncle Josh. If you ever have a question or something that's on your mind about relationships, please do send us a DM with your questions and we'll be so glad to answer them. Okay, so today's question. Dear Uncle Josh, I am in a cross-cultural marriage and we are struggling with balancing our different traditions. How can we respect both cultures without feeling like we are losing our individual identities? How can we respect both cultures without feeling like we are losing our individual identities? From the way this has been written, I'm assuming, or I'm answering this question from the point of view where we have two very conflicting cultures. So probably not a Ghanaian marrying another Ghanaian, but maybe a Ghanaian marrying a Russian, or a Ghanaian marrying a Cameroonian, or a South African marrying a German, or so on. I don't know where you didn't give too many details. You see, cross-cultural marriages are difficult because you are trying to bring two cultures together. They are difficult because you are trying to bring two cultures together. And when you are in the man's culture, they expect you to behave like women would behave in such a culture. When you are in the woman's culture, they expect you to behave like men would behave in that culture. Let me give you a little example. For instance, in Africa, we believe in paying a dowry. Now, for someone who was brought up in America, or who is an American, the person may see it like, am I buying the lady? Because you come to pay the dowry, they are charging you a certain amount of money. You are supposed to give something for the brother, something for the father. You are supposed to bring cows. You are supposed to bring lobola if you are in South Africa, or anything of sorts. And if you are, I think in South Sudan, you have to bring over 30 cows. Another story for another day. How can we respect both cultures without feeling like we are losing our individuality? First of all, you need to tell your partner which parts of your culture really matter to you. So for instance, if you are really an African man and you still believe that when I sit at table, my wife should bring a bowl of water and she should let me wash my hands, explain to her that these particular things matter to me. These other things don't really matter. And she should explain to you which parts of her culture matter to her and which parts don't matter. Then the two of you must collectively agree which parts of our culture do we want to give our children, that they are not lost in both cultures, but they can still respect each culture. You have to sit down and talk. And then what happens is that you now need to begin to defend your spouse when you get into your culture. So if you're Ghanaian and she's German, when you come to Ghana and your family are beginning to say, let her go and start lighting a coal pot, you need to stand your ground and tell them that, hey, I married a German woman. I didn't marry a Ghanaian woman. I don't think you should put such pressure on her. If she wants to do it, fine, but that should not be an expectation, and vice versa. So those are some of the things you can do to manage the cultural differences. It's a lot of work. It keeps going on. And even in your old age, you're going to ask yourself, where do we settle? Where do we finally want to live? There's a lot that goes on. Cross-cultural marriages are not easy, but they can be worked out to the best. Thank you. See you next week.